Hello and welcome. I am Anti-Derivative Jill, and this is Indefinite Lunch in Infinite Combinations number 16. Today I'm joined with Pop Culture Curator to review The Orville Season 3, Episode 2, Shadow Realms. Thank you for joining me today, Pop Culture.
Thank you, Jill, for having me. I really appreciate it. Hello, everybody. It's so good to see you. I know it's been a week. I'm really excited. There's been a lot of channels covering this, but now you're going to get the real good in-depth review by us.
Yes, and hello in the chat to Raymond Feliciano, Gorilla's Random Thoughts, and I hope you enjoyed the show today.
Yes,
Wait.
hello to the chat, everybody out there. Raymond, hello, Gorilla.
And Gorilla wants to know, are you doing your Bradbury early today? I
I
guess it
just
depends.
scheduled it. I just scheduled it before this stream started. It's tentative, depending on when this one ends.
Right.
So
Okay. When
whenever
did you schedule it?
I
Oh,
believe
hello
it
in the
was,
chat to LDG.
I
Go
think I
ahead.
scheduled it for about 2 hours from now, but I can always change it.
And what else do you have going on your channel this week?
I'll be doing some live chats, but that's it. I don't know if I'll be doing any makeup streams. Those don't seem to be very popular, and they may be
Mm,
hurting the algorithm on my channel. So I don't know
mm.
if I'll be doing those
But
anymore.
I think if you're interested in it, I think it's important to do it. But it's up to you, of course.
I'll think
I
about it. I will
Yeah.
think about it.
So
Yeah, I think the things I'm interested in just they don't seem to be very popular subjects.
this is a good episode for that subject in particular.
Well, our last review here got you. Last I checked, 100 views. So yeah, you're doing really good.
So how is everybody in the chat today? I have a poll asking you, what grade would you give the Orville New Horizons Episode 2, Shadow Realms? And we have reviewed every episode from seasons 1 and 2, and now we're finally reviewing season 3. So, before I begin, I'll show a countdown. Well, I'll show a countdown so that those who still need to see the show can pause and watch the replay. And I believe that we will get a season 4 if we give our attention and support to season 3. And I see that that's happened. There's so many reviews out there and so much action on Twitter that I think we're pretty much going to get a season 4. But of course, we haven't had the official announcement yet. So there's
Right.
going to be lots of speculation that it won't happen.
All right. We can keep our fingers crossed and always hope.
Hmm. Yeah, and in the event that it doesn't happen, they'll do movies. Seth will not get rid of the Orville that easily. And if you do want to support the show, to support Hulu, you can subscribe to Hulu or Disney Plus. And I understand if that it's difficult sometimes to subscribe to Disney Plus, but if you just subscribe just for this and unsub straight after it's over, that would send a really big message.
Yeah, I subbed, and this is the only thing I've watched, and then I turn it off.
Very good. So definitely go check out all those other channels also that are talking about the Orville, like Nerdporo Lifeform, Resolute Germ, Clavering Times, Mark D with the C, and much more. So check those out. So without spoiling it, I could say that I enjoyed this episode immensely. In my tweet, I called it masterful because I felt excited watching this, and I felt like I was watching something from the 90s, which follows given how it pays homage to Star Trek of that era. But it also gave me some Stargate vibes as well, as Jurassic Park and Alien, and it was sci-fi horror. It took inspiration while still forging its own path. There were some logical issues that I'll talk about in my spoiler review, but that feeling I had just watching something very entertaining is something that I don't feel very often anymore. So that part was a good time. Without spoilers here, can you tell me your general feelings about this episode?
I did like it. I did vote already. I won't tell you what the vote was yet. I'll tell you my vote at the end after you hear. Um, Spoiler free. I thought it was refreshing. I'm into monsters and creature effects and things like that, so I'm glad they went out there and did something different. So I thought that was great.
Yes, that's always what they try to do. They realize that they're using tropes that have been done before, so they do their best to make it new.
Right, and I've been saying the last couple of weeks, let's show more and more, expand. I know there's got to be more stories out there, so yeah, I'm glad to see something new.
Hmm. And so now I'll put on the countdown so that we can talk spoilers because that's what we want to do. So here we go. All right.
Sorry to hear about the heat, Gorilla. I know how that is. That's not good.
Oh, girl is dealing with some heat here. He says it's miserable. It's hotter than two rats humping in a wool sack. That's pretty hot, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that must be. Hello, LDG. Good to see you, sir. He knows more
Yes,
about YouTube algorithms than anybody else I know.
yes. So, Shadow Realms first aired June 8th or June 9th, depending on where you live. It was written by Brandon Braga and Andrew Bermanis, both who worked on Star Trek before. One as a writer, the both as a writer, but one Andrew Bermanis was also the science consultant, and he continues to provide that service here on the Orville. It was directed by John Kasar, with music done by John Denby. Because this is largely a sci-fi horror episode, lots of people wondered if any of the planning was done for October, and it turns out that the first table read was on October 15th, 2019.
Wow.
And they finished filming and production in 2020. The title refers to exactly what the Krill call the Kalar Expanse, the Shadow Realm. And hello in the chat too, Sandra Feliciano. Thanks for listening.
Hello, Sandra. Good to see you.
And the crew has a briefing about a meeting that they're going to have with Admiral Christie, who's helping them explore Krill space for the first time.
Right. This
Name-
is the scene where they said this is your A plot and this is your B plot.
Yeah, his credentials are that he helped negotiate some accords that we don't know about, so he's supposedly a good diplomat. And that's that scene.
Oh, you didn't get a shot of the doctor's face?
Oh, oh, there it is. I mean, that's one of her faces.
Well, I
The
mean, after when they explained what the A plot and the B plot was, the way she was sitting there looking down, and Kelly said, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, I didn't get that particular one, but
Oh, because that was for me. That was a big point in this episode
yes.
because as soon as they said the admiral's face, the doctor
Mhm.
reacted, and they showed her looking down like in deep thought. And me, in my mind, I was like, "Oh no, 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 no! Please, not another subplot of a lost love or a scorned love." Or someone who's going to try to get under her pants and she turns him down. Please, not that. Anything but that.
Well, she didn't turn him down
Well,
initially.
but here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, okay, I hope it's not lost love, but if it is, I'm thinking, is it going to be the father of the boys? And then I thought, well, there's no way they're going to battle over custody in this episode. So that's the only thing I wasn't sure of. I knew immediately. Yep, there he is.
Well,
Oh,
well, when you saw that, you knew he wasn't the father of the boy.
no, but it's like I don't know. They went way over the top to make this guy a creep.
Well,
But
yeah,
a true
he seems
beta.
a little bit of a creep, but not.
He doesn't
I
have
don't think
admiral
he's beta
vibes.
at all.
He
I
doesn't
don't think
he
so.
doesn't have
You say
he
that,
doesn't
but I don't think so.
I
No.
know, but he just doesn't seem to act professional or knowledgeable like an admiral. But all right, go ahead.
But he's an academic, obviously.
Yeah, apparently, yeah, and he apparently fraternizes slash molest his students. So they had to
Well,
really sink
molest.
and Millie make him look bad. It's like, oh,
Well, it's not like it was high school though. It was
It,
university.
I'm a retired
But I
teacher.
know it is. I know it is creepy, and I know it
It's
is
frowned
wrong,
down
and
upon,
it's
right?
very unprofessional. I agree that with that.
Right, and he's 20 or 30 years older than her, which makes it even worse. Which
Yeah.
means she was very young at the time, and it was too much for me. It was way too much what
Yeah.
they did to his character. Just like when they introduced Chuckles the clown,
Yeah,
they kind of overdo it.
but it wasn't just passing fling though. They actually got married.
Well, but then she said he
Um,
was clingy, and all he
yeah,
wanted to do
right.
was for her to be there while he came home, and
Mhm.
basically pregnant and barefoot in the kitchen. She just went on, and I was like, oh, they really stripped him down to make him look like a fool. Anyway, needless to say, we all
I
knew.
didn't exactly think that he looked like a fool. I think he wanted they just wanted different things in the relationship.
Well, in this show, remember the men are always clingy, and the women don't have time for that. It's the same old trope.
I didn't see him as clingy exactly, but okay.
Just
Go with
watch this. Remember this episode. How many times is
that.
he trying to get into her pants? I would have called HR at this first scene here.
Hmm. But he wasn't so much of a stalker because he didn't know that she had any children. So
No, but she tells him no. Of course, she tells him no.
yeah,
All women tell the men no, but then he doesn't take no for an answer.
she's put their marriage behind her, but he hasn't moved on yet.
Well, of course not, right? Just like Ed
Yeah,
has it with Kelly, right?
yeah.
I just for refreshing. Just to be fair, I like it once, like I said, for a woman to be pining after a man, and a man tells her, "I don't have time for this. You need to leave me alone."
I would be fine with that. That could totally happen, and I'd be okay with that. And
It'll never
they
happen.
they
That's the
kind of
problem.
they kind of alluded to that having happened with almost everybody on the ship with the Lara, but we just never got to see it.
That was off camera, so I would consider that non-canon.
It's uncanny, but it happened.
And according to her, the only reason why it happened was because of her strength. It wasn't anything else.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They were intimidated by her strength, according to her.
I mean, maybe, but relationships are way more complicated than that. It could have worked if there weren't
I know,
other foibles that she had.
but I have never seen a man who obsesses over an ex girlfriend or wife like this in real life ever. Men are usually the first. I'm not saying the first ones, but men usually easily move on and say, "No, I'm moving on. I don't even care about that." It's just very not
Mhm.
realistic, and especially when they show almost
Okay,
every man in that light.
fair enough. Vice Admiral Paul Christie was played by James Reed, who also starred on Star Trek Voyager, for a two-parter episode.
Do you know what kind of character he played there?
Um, Probably the same kind of character. I have no idea.
Starfleet.
Um, no, actually, I don't remember the episode. So if anybody in the chat wants to illuminate me, I haven't seen Voyager in a very long
Okay.
time, and I won't see it until we watch it on Saturday night Star Trek modern times, because I'm really enjoying going through Star Trek in this way, in order, 4 episodes a week, and
Okay,
so it'll be a while before I get to Admiral Christie's episode.
gotcha.
But I think, um, let's see, a different perspective here. Oh, and this is from Raymond to Sandra. And Gorilla's Random Thoughts says, as soon as the Admiral said he was staying, I knew he would die.
Same here, brother.
Yeah, right? Yes, of course.
Well, that and the clingy. I mean, the creep. You just knew there was no way he was going to survive.
So the other perspective here, Gorilla says, he wasn't a creep. He was just a professor making love with this student for a better grade. I don't think
Right. Thank you.
there's nothing in this episode that says she did it for better grades. It's just so funny when people say that.
Well, because we know real life what's going on. When they say
So what
that,
episode
we
did
know
you
the subtext of what they're talking about. Why else would she
Mhm.
do that with a man that's 20 or 30 years older? But
Because
oh
she likes
well.
him.
But remember, he's the one pining after her. She dumped him. Just keep that in mind. That's why it
Well,
it contradicts itself.
actually, she says that he dumped her because she actually wanted a real relationship. She wanted a partner, and he didn't want a partner. So
He
so
wanted someone to come home to. I
mhm,
thought she said
that's all. Well,
when he
we'll
would after
get to that part.
Well,
that
it
part
just
of me
doesn't make sense
tripped me.
because he doesn't sound like the kind of man who was sitting home in a chair all day. He sounded like he was probably busy at the time. I don't know why you'd be waiting for her to come home, but it's just they were just busy tacking on bad things to his character to make him look like a
I really
creep.
didn't see him as a that bad. I mean, he did
Okay.
seem kind of creepy in that first scene, but then I thought they kind of subverted the trope of creepiness. But
It
okay,
would have been nice if he was a nice, strong, honest character, and then that would have made us care more for him when what happens happens.
yeah, but at least they didn't make him an abuser or anything like that. I was afraid of that kind of lifetime trope. At least that
Yep,
didn't happen. It could have been
that
worse.
that would have been the A plot if that would have happened. Yeah, but they couldn't. It's just like when I was talking about. I knew it couldn't have been the father of the boys because they're not going to bring in child support and child custody and all that. That's a little too much. That's why I knew it was just a past love.
So, if you remember last season, I was a little incredulous at how easily the Krill Treaty came about. So, here's some proof that it's as thin as I'd hoped. The Krill make it clear that the treaty is over as soon as the Halon are no longer a threat. So they're just patiently putting up with all of the unions, everything the union is doing. Like like in the last season when they had to pee in those cups, and this time getting through the toast.
Yeah, and it looks like the same actors, right? Playing the same characters.
Yes, it's the same
Yes,
actors. It's the
good.
same krill.
I like the consistency.
Hmm.
And by the way, I have to mention the Ed Seth MacFarlane. His character actually plays a very small role in this episode.
It's true. And Gorilla says it's 109 with 95%
Oh
humidity.
no, that is not good. Sorry, Gorilla. Bortus also plays a small role in this episode, not very much.
Yeah. Um, Workforce. Gorilla's random thoughts. The episodes I need are Workforce and Workforce Part Two. He played a character called Yaffin or Jaffin, but I don't know if anybody remembers that episode because I don't.
And I've never seen it, so I definitely don't remember it.
Yep. So this drinking scene is the actual scene where we're supposed to learn about Claire's marriage with Christy
Yeah, sorry guys. This is what we were just talking about a minute ago, where they were talking about their history in college.
until she realized that he only wanted someone there, but not someone to fully participate as a partner in life, is how I saw it.
Which makes him sound like a
N-
cheater.
Oh, I didn't I didn't hear that he cheated at all. But
Well,
all right.
I don't know. When I hear that, it just sounds like
You have a certain life experience that I don't,
well,
that
it's the way
maybe gives
it's the
you
way
that kind of
it,
notion.
it's the way they write and frame men. It's just it's always in a negative light. It's just I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
And Gorilla's random thought says, "You need the actor." That's the episode where the Voyager crew is kidnapped and brainwiped to fill a worker shortage on a planet. Oh. All
So I
right,
take it
thank
he
you.
was one of the aliens that kidnapped them. Apparently,
Yeah, maybe. Very cool. Thank you, Gorilla. Here in this scene, we learn that the krill power their propulsion with something called hercium or harcium. I didn't learn how to pronounce that, but
it's okay.
it's some kind of fantasy substance that doesn't exist that the krill need to use for their propulsion. The Union seemed to be agreeing to let them have at it, since it's uninhabited, in exchange for the ability to explore krill space. And they were once enemies, but now one is helping power the ships of the other, and the other is allowing for exploration. into territories that they've kept secret for a long time.
Well,
So
for them
that's
it's right. For them it's a forbidden zone that they don't enter.
you're right. But Admiral Christie says it's half the region, so we have to explore it. Retrospectively, these Krill interactions are the best for me because they allow them to be full characters and not one-dimensional. I like that. Even if the tracking devices are only temporary, even though this alliance is only temporary and they have to wear tracking devices, it's pretty incredible the amount of leeway the Krill are giving, given what we know about them from the past. So this kind of working together gives me some kind of hope, even though they said they're not going to continue the alliance, that they might see that as this temporary alliance continues, they may find more reasons that coexistence is more beneficial than dominance.
Oh, but yeah, especially when it comes against body against the Kalons.
Right. But even after that, I don't know. Oh, and also Raymond Feliciano knows that Admiral Christie was in the episode that where the crew are made into slaves. Oh. Yes, James Reed is the actor. Correct. So our crew doesn't hear the creepy horror music beginning to build in the background as the crew.
Well, you forgot to mention that the Krill did mention that they have a lot of superstitions that bad things happen in this area, and that's why they warn the Union not to go in there.
Oh, right.
And that's
That's
why
why
the
I had the
Admiral is the dumb one that says, we don't care, we're going to go in there anyway. It's got to be a bunch of garbage anyway, right?
right.
The
That's
Arcana warns of shadow realms. Gateways to the underworld where demons lie in wait to possess the souls of those who dare to stray within their reach.
Yeah.
yes. That's a pretty clear warning that hey, don't go there. You're gonna
Yeah.
die.
Because
But
because it mentions their religion and so
right.
this makes the Union think, well, this is probably just some hokey religion from way in the past that doesn't exist.
Right, there's no scientific basis for what they're saying, so they want to explore it anyway.
Well,
Yep.
because right, and they don't have any detail. They just said something about a lot of eyes and it takes your soul. They didn't really have a lot of detail to make it sound like it was
Yeah, and there's
something
some kind of
solid.
depravity.
Yes.
So so the Krill expound upon the words of the Ankana that warns of those demons. And but of course the Admiral still wants to explore it. Anyway.
We appreciate the warning, and we'll take every precaution, but that area covers more than half the sector. We are explorers. So if it's all the same to you, we'd like to see for ourselves what's out there.
We will not stop you, but do not expect us to save you.
Right. Another one of the many scenes we knew that the Admiral was going to be killed.
Right. And
And don't forget how they mentioned also in this episode that apparently religion and the false prophets and the several religions that are monetary still exist, I guess, in this future. They say in this future that
that priest still exists.
to get rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not on Earth, but maybe they're referring to other species. I don't know.
Well, I don't
I
know.
don't
They
know for
did.
sure.
They're certainly not going to mention religion on this show.
No. At the very least, though, they do admit that the warning comes from, even though the warning comes from a religious text, that it could have elements based in reality.
Yes.
As in the same breath that he's describing lots of colorful language, horror movie stuff. And so it seems like they're trying to make a balanced approach to the Ankana, except that they don't take the warning seriously enough. Because
the Admiral doesn't take the wording seriously enough.
the
He
Admiral
takes the
doesn't,
brunt of
yes,
right. He
mostly.
takes the brunt of all the ignorance on his shoulders, even though he should be the person with the most experience.
It's true.
But oh well.
And
he would never last in his career if he had this kind of mentality. He would have been dead a long time ago. But oh well.
Yeah, but they're not so blind as to not strike up an alliance with lesser beings as the Krill are doing now. So the
Yes.
Krill, even though the Krill do have kind of a fanatical religion, um, uh, n- it's not an ordinary one because they see themselves as the ones worthy of domain over the universe better than any others.
Well, that's how all religions are. They think their religion is the only true religion and it's better than everyone else's. And the Krill are heavy into religion. Their whole society is based on it, right? Avis.
And but I think based on the results of this episode, you could say that the results give the Krill's faith of redemption from some of the incredulity that
Oh yeah, they were not
in this
lying.
episode.
Definitely
Yeah,
right.
they were not. And here we get this.
I know I speak for the entire Union when I say there's no greater gift than the promise of new knowledge.
Salatala Kovaspa Koloi.
What does that mean?
It is a prayer for those who are about to die.
Well, he's talking to the right person.
Yeah, he is. And here they talk about how they're going to explore the Clob sector, and of course that he's staying. And Gorilla's random thoughts knows that he's gonna die at this moment.
Oh, there were several clues to that, right? Every time,
Right, exactly, of course.
here,
But
he is another scene where he does try to get into her pants again, and she tells him, "No, no, no."
but that's the classic horror trope of, here's all the warnings that this is dangerous, but the we see it, but the people in the horror don't see the same danger.
It'd be nice though, like I said, if they would have written the Admiral in a positive light, it would have made it
Sure.
more not so predictable. And
Yeah, I would like
we
that.
we wouldn't have
That
been able
would
to
be
guess it
nice.
from the very beginning. It would have been
Right.
nice for a change, show a little bit of originality. Sorry, Gorilla, if you're not streaming that Thursday and Friday.
And what's going on? Gorilla's random thought says, "Oh, pop culture. I won't be streaming Thursday or Friday because I'll be getting home late." Oh, okay. and and of course, this is the scene where Ed gives the crew the pep talk, and he says the Star Wars line. And because, of course, since the beginning, the Orville has always lived in the future that treasures 20th century entertainment above all, this scene still follows in that tradition and reminds me of Command Performance when Claire offers to be Alara's Obi-Wan. So this is the second Star Wars reference, direct. There's been lots of indirect references. And here we have two of Claire's former lovers talking about her. But first, I'd like to mention that after last week's episode, it was a relief and a joy to hear someone talk about the lives that Isaac did save versus ones he may be responsible for indirectly.
Well, he saved the entire ship and everyone aboard it.
Yeah. Yeah, and so at least the Admiral does acknowledge that here.
But the point of the Admiral, the reason why he's here, we have to mention is he still wants to get into the Doctor's pants.
Yes,
he's asking Isaac how to do it, and
yes, right.
men do not. I have to point out, men do not share secrets like that with other men about their ex-girlfriends on what to do and points on how to get to them and how to sleep in bed. Men absolutely do not do that.
I'll take
and that's
your
the
word
second
for
time
it.
that's the second time the Orville has done this.
But
the first time it was when the teacher went to Ed asking how to get into Kelly's pants, and now it's the Admiral asking Isaac how to get into the Doctor's pants. And men do not do that. It's the writing just
it's frustrating.
Her recreational interests include music, dancing, fine dining, rain showers, and sexual relations. Her preferred mating positions include...
Whoa, well, that's plenty helpful, Isaac. Thank you.
All right, so then they never. Also, that's right. We learned in this episode, so they did have sexual relations. I guess Isaac is capable of that. He's designed to do
Oh,
that.
they did it via hologram.
Oh, so you think that's what they're talking about? So when he was in human form in the hologram, she did it
Yes.
with the hologram?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Ew,
Yes.
that's creepy. That makes her look creepy, but oh well.
Yeah, well, it's pretty clear that's what happened in the episode. We also
I
learned
hadn't
that,
realized that. I was a little more innocent when I watched that episode. I thought it was just a date. Sorry.
Mhm. We also learned that Isaac has missed her, which Bird of Prey 5 has joined us. I'm so excited to see that. Welcome, Bird of Prey 5, to the stream.
Hello, Bird of Prey
Sorry
5.
about that. Hello, world. It's Bird of Prey 5. Kapla.
So good to
Kapla.
see you. Hope you and the family are doing well, Bird.
Thank you. I don't know how much time I have, but this is a great episode. I wanted to come on.
Great. We
Oh.
did.
Hi.
Both of us did catch your short video on the upcoming titles of the new
Oh,
episodes.
thank you. I'm sure you guys probably knew it already.
No, I
The
didn't know
truth
it.
is, I just wanted to talk about the Orville.
That's
That's
great.
fine.
I
No,
love that
I-
you made
I
an
did not
Orville
al-
video.
Yeah, and I did not already know it, Bird. I didn't know until I watched your video.
Oh, cool. Well, I
What's-
hope it's worth,
But
hope
you did.
people enjoyed it.
I noticed you said that you thought you've seen enough of the Marklins, that you're Marklined out.
Personally, I think if we could do more, I'd love to see more. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't hate the Mocklins. I just feel like we've seen a lot of Mocklin over
I
the
do
first
have-
2 seasons.
I do have a prediction about the female Marklins that I mentioned to Jill a couple of weeks ago. So I think they're going to be rearing their heads again, possibly. But that's just speculation.
Oh, I think if we see them, then for sure we'll
Definitely.
see more female Mocklins.
I
Yes.
do believe that the female Mocklin leader is going to be in season 3, so that's a good prediction.
Yeah, I just think they're going to resolve that the whole open end about them looking down on the women. I think the women are going to redeem themselves in the eyes of the men. I don't think they're going to leave that open, but that's just speculation.
That's probably a good bet. I'm sorry to get off topic, but just real quick, my guess with the Mocklins was that they were always a 2-gender species, and that the males was just a result of like a patriarchy run amok, that they physically, got rid of their women, and then they made women so feel so bad that they made them want to turn into men, and that it was always patriarchy, and that in fact the only way that they could have an egg is if one of the two was naturally a female, and that's why Bortus and his earlier person couldn't have an egg, but his Clyden did, because Clyden was a female.
That's
whole
an interesting
time.
theory of Mocklin biology that we don't know that much about.
And it
Appreciate
does
that.
make sense the way this series writes men in a negative light, and especially the way they treat patriarchies. I would not be surprised.
And Gorilla's Random Thought says we see the Mocklins as much as we see the Klingons. And
Right,
so-
and I like Klingons.
Oh yeah.
I don't
Well,
hate
clearly,
Mocklins.
you're a Klingon.
I don't hate Mocklins. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let's.
Okay,
I don't
since
go
we don't
down.
have you too long, why don't you tell us everything that you feel about this episode, and that way you can get it all.
I know.
And then I'll continue.
Okay.
Do you have your own review coming up, Bird, of these? Are you going to do these?
Not every episode, so
Okay.
it's not. Don't worry about that.
All right.
I
go
do
for
have
it.
another video I'm working on where it's just me talking about all the episodes and where they could have been. And don't worry about it. For this episode, I'll be honest, it wasn't my favorite because I don't
Right.
like horror. I don't like
Mhm.
scary stuff. I don't like. Uh-oh. Can you still hear me?
There we go.
Yes.
Yeah. It just stuttered for a second.
Okay, I have my computer messed up. I'll have to reboot later, but don't worry about it now. I'm sorry. I don't like scary things, and I thought this episode was a little too much horror for me. I don't like the spider-looking things, and that's it. It was still a good episode. It just wasn't an episode I'd like. And
Right,
like
so-
I know Firestorm or whatever it was from
Right,
season
Firestorm.
1. Yeah, I know that's a good episode too, but it's just an episode I don't watch. I skip
Right.
it.
Yeah, that
I
one is
skip
a little
it.
scary too, but at least that one was all a hologram. This one's real.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Bird, my question for you is, since you don't usually watch horror, is you probably are not aware of the movies that this episode plays homage to, right? The creatures in the movies.
Probably not. No.
Okay, that's fine.
So, oh, the main thing that I actually wanted to say that I liked about this scene with Isaac was that that Isaac expresses that he missed her, which we established in the happy refrain is a real effect that she's had on the efficiency of his programming.
And we know she still cares for him. Right?
Yes, correct.
Right.
So I like that. So they enter the Naklav sector, which first greets them with this beautiful OB association, which is a type of star cluster with 78 blue giant stars and others. All these colors here are pretty because these type of clusters often emit lots of ultraviolet radiation that ionizes the gases, giving us this cloud. So that's the science that we get in this episode.
Very cool.
And it also has 347 planets that could be inhabited in life, but none appear on scanners. And even though this is the one and only like bright and hopeful scene, that so many inhabitable planets or lifeness should have been another clue that was a little bit ignored here.
Possibly, right?
Also, they address a distress signal from within the expanse without any trepidation. And I really love the feel of this episode because it's supposed to be as ominous as they enter the expanse, as I said before.
A lot of people were comparing this to an episode of, I think, Voyager or something like that.
Yeah, there was an episode of Voyager which also had an aerospace with no stars.
Gotcha.
And normally, actually, the Orville reminds me of Star Trek, but this episode reminds me a bit of Stargate. And in times like these, when they know something is going to be creepy or something strange, they send in something they call a MALP, which is like a type of probe that they send in. So maybe after this episode, after an experience like this, if they have another experience like this, they'll send in a probe first.
There's a few other learning lessons I think they'll get from this episode, yes.
That's what I'm hoping. Like this one, I'll give it to them to make all the mistakes. But next time, they gotta know. They gotta know better. And the crew sees that they can breathe, and the atmosphere, and they take that to mean that it's fine to explore.
Chuckles gets one line in this episode, I have to mention.
Oh yeah, I think 2 lines, but they don't really.
Oh, that many, huh? Okay.
Okay, there's no stars.
It's funny the contrast is they really dialed her down after the first episode.
Well, she's just doing her job in this episode, so we don't see her in a personal nature. In this episode
I know the first one should have been like this. Would have been nice, but oh well. Give us a chance to get to know her.
Right. Let her do some good things first before you show her.
Good things first before the bad. That's it, right? Don't introduce a character as bad, right? I want to say, by the way, great design. This whole thing, the ship, all of it. I love it. It looks practical. Yeah, it looks practical. The colors, it does not look CGI.
Well, that's what the Orville does, a mix of practical and CGI.
Yep. Very theatrical. And I think they actually do use the words haunted house in this, right? That it looks like a haunted house.
Entering the haunted house, says Gordon.
Back in the Millennium Falcon.
So at least okay, so they make that same they go in without EV suits, and their excuse for that is because they have biofilters, which they rely on to protect them.
Where?
On the ship has biofilters.
No, I mean when
guess.
they get off of the ship, when they get out of the shuttle.
Yeah, I don't know where. They don't show it. They don't
I
show
mean,
it, but
yeah,
they
that's
just make reference to them that they exist.
Are they armed?
They should be. I don't see why they
That's
wouldn't be.
I was wondering that. I only watched it once, but I was thinking, first strike, no environmental suits. Second strike, they're not even armed. It just
If they're not armed, then you're right.
and of course,
that would be ridiculous.
right, and of course, everybody mentioned in the other reviews,
Right.
the entire command crew was inside this party, which is not a wise idea.
Yes, exactly.
Right,
I
and
definitely,
what's Lamar doing there? Right, so it just
I definitely
right.
agree with anyone that says they should have worn suits and that there were problems.
And the whole command crew would not have been there.
Yeah, well, the direness and dread that's overwhelming from the audience is felt by us, but less so from them, except for Gordon, who does mention it's a haunted house. And yes, we do get the strangest away team ever. I've always given allowing the captain a pass because of the original series, but also allowing the admiral is a bit too much. In place of him, I would either put Isaac or Yaphet.
Isaac would be the best because he's not susceptible
Isaac.
to a lot of environmental problems, right?
Yeah, Yaphet would be kind of bad, I guess, because he'll absorb everything. So you're right, he wouldn't work.
Yeah, Isaac would have been the ideal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I would have sent Isaac alone.
Right. Oh yeah, I was talking about a probe earlier. I mean, we do care about Isaac, but I think he would agree that makes the most sense to have him check it out first.
Right. When they show the people who got off the shuttle, when you look at this group, this is more like a delegation, like they're expecting to meet a bunch of people and shake hands and say hello. Here we are, which is, like I said, it's making the admiral look like a fool, like he has no experience. Which I don't know. That's another knock on the admiral. They do. There's just so many on the script. He's like he has no experience. He must have just got promoted because he slept the right person or because his dad was somebody in charge. I don't know.
We don't know anything about his background. Again, like Stargate Atlantis, Wraith ships, or even Farscape, we have this ship that is partially organic. And they find the distress signal, but not what set it off. And they find... Oh yeah, that's a distress signal.
Right. And the person with the most experience, the highest rank, does the dumbest things. And it's just okay.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to read highlights, and they had this page showing Goofus and Gallant. So in this case, Mercer is Gallant, taking in the data from the Flower with his comm scanner, and the Vice Admiral is Goofus, who disregarded the Krill warnings more than anyone and sticks his face right into the Flower thing.
Yep, exactly right.
And and that also reminds me of Stargate too, when Colonel O'Neill sticks his face into a similar device, except that one gave him all the knowledge of the ancients. But that's a different episode. That maybe one day I'll cover Stargate.
And Stargate, I had to ask. I didn't watch it. Did they have a spaceship? Did they travel around it? I thought it was just about a gateway they walked through.
Yes. Most of the time they just had gateways. Yes, that's how they traveled with gateways. That's right, the Stargate. But near the end of the series, they did end up getting technology from some Asgard aliens, where they built, and they used that knowledge to build their own spaceship.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I just saw the original movie and that was it. I couldn't see how they were gonna take that plot and stretch it out to a series.
The series
did.
The series is better than the movie.
That's what I've heard.
Movie, but yeah.
And I think it has MacGyver in it, right?
Yes. He makes the show, really. I mean, the whole cast is good, but without him, it isn't as good.
Do any
So
of you guys know if Scott Bakula does appearances at the Trek conventions? I was curious, or does he not care?
I've never seen him at a Star Trek convention, but he might have. That's a good
Okay.
question.
Yeah, I know he's still a headlining actor and he's got a new show and everything. I don't know if I don't know how much he cares. Especially considering how they were treated at the end there.
Yeah, right. Just anyway, Mercer thinks they need to head back to analyze what they got. And I don't even know why I clipped this one, but I did, so here we go.
According to scans, there are no life forms currently on board.
Well, at least not life as we know it.
And let's see. Hello in the chat too, Adega Outlaw. How are you doing today?
Hello, Adega. Good to see you.
So this is the scene where he starts to have his seizure from going up to that plant. Going up to that. Well, it wasn't a plant, but you know what I mean.
Right, and for all of us horror fans, we're all saying, okay, this is where they do aliens. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, this is the alien part of the.
Bird, by that bird, we mean homage to the movie Alien. If you want to call it.
Well, that one's a
or...
sci-fi movie, so I'm sure Bird's seen Alien.
Oh, I don't know. It's scary sci-fi, but.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't have that much scariness in it. I mean, it does. It has more like the scariness is in the absence of the alien.
Yes.
And those scenes are almost even scarier than when we see the alien.
Oh yes, they relied on good writing back then.
Yeah, they did.
And now they say, "Oh, let's go back, but this time let's wear environmental suits."
Yes, see, they learned their lesson pretty quick. And we find that his DNA is being rewritten very quickly, causing him to grow these eyes. But what I like best about this scene is that they do address why they failed to put on EV suits. Here they believe their bioscanners would catch anything. So I mentioned it earlier, but this is where it's actually stated.
I know, and I remember when I heard this, I thought, okay, where are these bioscanners? I mean, are they wearing them? Are they on the ship? That's why.
You're right. They don't explain them at all. They really should have. They really should have showed them.
And his makeup, by the way, everybody. Now we're getting into the homage of the Fly. Yeah, so this is the transformation scene that they're paying homage to from the movie The Fly, Brundlefly to be exact.
So while they're cleaning up the security issue of one part, they make another. They know the Admiral is changing into something else, but they don't take any precautions to keep him contained or quarantined.
Nope. No quarantines, no containment. And he can be extremely contagious, right?
Right. They don't know. They don't know how he spreads. So
which is why you would isolate him, right? Normally.
And
now, when they go like in this shot here, they go back and they have their environmental suits on. Are they armed yet?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I didn't see any weapons.
But Tala takes a sample from the flower and Mercer scans it, and it turns out it's some kind of unknown bacterial spore.
Yeah, they're having a contest right now with that scanner where people can win it.
What?
Yes, the one on his left hand. That what's his name? Constellanto, whatever that.
Tom Constantino. Tom Constantino is.
He's got a contest going on Twitter that if you send a picture of you watching the Orville, you can win that actual on-screen used device. And I think the contest ended a few days ago.
Oh, okay. Oh, then I missed it. But I'll try to see. It sounds like he's going to have a bunch of.
I think he will. Yeah. I was going to say it may not have been the first. It may not be the last.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Lamar discovers that the distress beacon from earlier is now broadcasting the location of this creepy space station or something.
Well, it was broadcasting before, but they said it went from a distress signal to like
A
a
homing
mating
device.
Homing signal.
mating homing, yeah, like a mating sign.
So Admiral Christie is changing more and more, and now in this state, Claire is finally calling him Paul, and he's scared of dying. And Claire puts his ring on for him. But the best part is how he is honest about how much he actually hated that souffle. So might have taken a while, but he's finally being honest. But she's just too proud for him to, she was too proud of that souffle for him to admit
Well,
it.
they're both afraid, so they're making small talk.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's kind of a shame. The best conversations that they have is when he's turning into a spider demon.
Right.
Too
This
bad
is the
for
first
him.
time they did not write him in a negative light, right? So like now we're supposed to suddenly start caring everybody. Switch on that care switch.
Since he was not contained, of course, Dr. Finn discovers that he's gone and tells the bridge and leaves Nurse Park so she can go check on her children.
Poor Nurse Park.
And poor Nurse Park, he's left wandering around trying to figure out what's going on because he has no idea.
Unarmed.
Unarmed, right? Checking out very creepy noises, which causes him to come face to face.
Yeah, let me ask you, Jill, because I hadn't hear any of the other
Spider
reviewers.
demon.
I listened to a
Sure.
lot of reviews, and nobody asked this question. Why do you
Okay.
think that these aliens turn the lights off?
Why do you think the aliens turned the lights off?
Yeah.
Well, I suspected that they turned the power off in general to disable the crew from being able to use their systems, their scanners and their tools and the things
That's
that they
possible.
that and and they even mentioned, which I was going to mention a little later, that oh yeah, Lamar says there's a dampening field on the ship that will make the comm scanners and weapons inert. So that's the main reasoning for the aliens turning off the lights. And it's not necessarily the lights that they care about. They're just, in the way. The lights are in the way of getting them to, disable the crew's ability to use weapons and scanners.
It
Do you
may
think
well be they have better sight in the dark.
that's what I was hoping they would mention, right? That somehow that they had a or they were susceptible to bright lights. That's the reason why their spaceship was so dark. I thought they were going to at least. That would have been nice if they mentioned that they didn't like bright lights.
I
Would
like
have
that
given more
answer
of a
too.
would have been more of a creepier vibe instead of just saying, well, let's. And it just the way to me it came off to me like, well, let's just make it dark so it makes the episode more scary. But
Yeah.
let me ask you this: do you think, according to the plot, do these aliens retain the memories and the knowledge of the people they take over?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Because
Continue. I asked you that for a reason. Now keep that thought. Go ahead.
the reason why is because he was able to just put on the dampening field and turn off all the power
Precisely.
because of his Admiral command codes.
Exactly.
So he absolutely has memory of
Thank
the
you.
Admiral.
Gotcha. Okay. Perfect. 'Cause I'll bring that up again later.
Now, this is the last scene that we'd leave Nurse Park in. So, the obvious conclusion is that he was infected, but we don't see it happening. So,
Off screen.
it happens off screen. So he was way too close to him for him to escape. So I don't think unless he did have some kind of weapon on him, he's
Well, didn't they have the scene where he
trying
heard
to
something
figure.
behind him? He turned around, the camera zoomed in on him, and then faded to a different scene. Right.
Yeah, that's what happens.
The usual, right?
Hmm. So besides the Admiral, he's the only named victim so far. I guess they do name another one later, but he's the only one that we actually care about. In
And
fact,
this is where I think that we'll notice while watching this episode that the modern day lockdowns were probably playing a part into it because there seems to be very few crew members on the ship. So I think they
Yes, that's
couldn't
true.
keep a lot of people in close quarters, possibly.
Or an even creepier notion is that there were people wandering around, but they immediately got transfigured
Right? How
and
many? That's the thing. They never talk about how many of their ship was compromised.
no, that is a huge problem with the episode for sure. That we don't know how many were lost, and it at this point in the next episode or in some episode in season 3, I need to know how many were lost and to have
Oh,
memorial services for
they'll
them.
probably bring it up in the next episode.
Even though Ed seems to have long-term plans that he thinks he might be able to save them, which is why he gave them the chance to leave the ship.
Which we don't know how. They didn't show how, but okay.
No, they didn't show that either, which is another problem. Sorry about that. Hold on. I can't stop it. Oh, okay. There we go. Okay.
What's that from?
It's a red dwarf.
Gotcha.
But I don't know who was calling.
Smash the phone.
Yeah, no. Okay, I got it.
Smash that.
Since all right. So I'm just taking a moment to see where I was.
Have they ever established on the Orville where they store the weapons?
Not really.
Okay. That would have been the first thing I would have done. Is armed everybody, told them everybody can grab a weapon.
Okay, but as soon as the lights go out, that's when there's a dampening field on the ship that disables the weapons. So they've been made inert.
Well, remember they use rifles later, so the weapons work.
No, yeah, but no, they didn't. Yeah, when they use the rifles, that's after Lamar gets the auxiliary power back online.
All right, gotcha.
So I've avoided mentioning it thus far, but there are some parallels to this episode and many other movies and episodes, but in particular, also a less well done episode of TNG called Genesis has some points. And the main problem with that episode is because they had the T cell turning into a virus, because that didn't really activating introns, making them behave like they don't really behave.
Was that the one where Picard and Riker shot the alien in the head and exploded?
No, that was an early season 1 episode.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, but that was a pretty.
Oh, it's conspiracy, right?
Yeah, conspiracy with
I
the captains.
I just remember because that whole scene where the lasers were hitting the head, it was all shot on videotape and it was very obvious. It took me right out of it. I'll never forget that. I don't know why they shot that on video, but go ahead.
Yeah. And so, one major similarity was how Lieutenant Reginald Barclay was turned into a spider creature, even though humans don't have a linked ancestry to arachnids. But the resemblance to Admiral Christie is pretty uncanny. And Clara's looking at her quarters for her kids because she told them to stay put in an emergency. But like another Stargate episode says.
And like kids, we're not that stupid. Of course, they're not going to sit there. They're going to hide, of course, which I do not blame them for.
Right. And of course, Ty does stick with his brother, but even though he does mention that they should be in the quarters, but it might be a good thing that they're not. I don't know. Meanwhile, Lamar thinks he can turn on auxiliary power if he thinks he can find where the dampening field is, but without scanners, he'll have to check each engineering conduit of 132, of which there are 132 of them. And so they're going to do that. And then the tension and fear of this scene is straight out of the Velociraptor scene in Jurassic Park. And it's one of those feelings that I haven't had in a very long time. So I thought that was the tension and everything was pretty well done here.
That's okay. And you know what? I have to agree with you. I thought the same thing. I remember watching Jurassic Park in the theater. But we can all we all keep in mind that kids do not get harmed in these movies, so it's not going to happen. And
Yeah.
it's funny that the one crew member pops up happens to be wearing red. I wonder who. Yeah, look at that. I wonder who's going to get hurt in this scene. Yeah.
No, he's gonna be fine, right?
Yeah, he could be absolutely fine, right?
No, I didn't get too many screen grabs of this because y'all need to go watch it. So
He was only on the screen a couple seconds anyway, guys.
yeah, right. Yeah, you can see right behind him. There's somebody peeking.
Right, he was on there long enough to say, "Come with me,"
Yeah, stick with me, kids.
and you'll be just fine.
So, but I'm pretty sure you can guess what happens. It is quite a rapid transformation that he goes through.
I liked it too. It looks. I know you guys. I know Bird, you didn't like that kind of stuff, but I did like the transformation scene. It looked pretty good. Sorry.
And rest in peace to Lieutenant Woodson. They do mention his name. So the kids find Claire and they tell her and the whole bridge crew about the spider monsters and that they found. And Mercer finally realizes the parallels between the Ancana about the demons possessing souls and what's happening here. And Dr. Finn interprets the kids' description as these spider demons' form of reproduction through DNA writing. In this manner, they are like parasites, and that makes me think of another Stargate quote, which is something of the host survives. So I believe they're introducing this new enemy, but also leaving room to be able to maybe save the mind of these creatures, if not the body of the Admiral one day. So that would be kind of weird if they cured his mind, but he still has to walk around as a spider person.
That would be interesting, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I was having so much fun here, I didn't even realize. Hell to Cardinal Sin.
Hello, Cardinal
Kapla.
Sin.
And he says Kapla to Bird of Prey 5. And he says transfigured versus transmogrified. Okay, so I'm not an expert in horror or transfigurations or transmogrifications. So all I know is that the DNA of the humans are being entirely rewritten to match the DNA of the spider demons.
Right, and we all know that's physically impossible, but it's magic. But it's
Right.
Okay for the episode.
Correct. And Cardinal Sin, Red Dwarf is your ringtone. That is so geeky and cool. Yes, right now Red Dwarf is my ringtone. For a while, actually, I made it my ringtone because I wanted to rewatch it, but I kept putting it off. And so finally, I am rewatching it. And I also recently saw the episode Polymorph, which is the Red Dwarf's version of a horror little episode where there's a alien that goes around the ship, and it drains emotion. It feeds off emotion and takes emotion from each of the crew.
An emotional vampire, yes.
Yes, an emotional vampire.
I know a few of those in real life, unfortunately.
and it's pretty funny. It's a funny episode because it's a comedy. So wasn't it the same writer for both episodes? Oh, yes. Brandon Braga wrote Genesis and this one. But in this one, he had Andre Romanis temper him, and so it came out better.
So you just had to open up the old script and modify it.
Mm-hmm. So Alara, dang it, Tala.
There you go
again. One of these days, I'm going to stop doing that, but I do miss Lara.
Same here, so I totally understand. It's okay.
Tala goes to warn Lamar and Isaac about the spider demons while he's crawling around the new Jeffries tubes. But of course, they can't call them that. They're the conduits.
Right.
And he figures out how to turn on the power pretty quickly, so that's good. And after he does that, of course, he doesn't get much time to relax about it because here's the spider demon.
So here's the haunted house scene, right?
Hmm So he gets chased through this conduit, and he blasts gas in the face of the spider to get away. And
This is what I wanted to point out. Okay. For some reason, these aliens, they keep the knowledge of the crew that they take over, correct? But they don't
yes,
know how to turn off the force field on the brig, right?
well, that's a good point. Maybe some of them are not as aware of their past selves as others. Maybe there's different levels of intelligence. I don't know.
Possible.
But that's a good point.
Yeah, because they should have walked right over and pushed the button and just deactivated the force field.
Or their primitive drives, are overriding the original person that's underneath.
I have to point out, I know it's nitpicking too, but I wish they would not have showed the spiders running across the ceiling and the walls. It suspends disbelief. It looks very fake. It's an old trope from the 90s. I wish they would not have done that.
But they are spiders, and spiders can walk on walls.
Spiders can walk on walls, but they cannot jump from one part of a wall to another. They would fall. Gravity affects spiders just like us.
Okay.
When they're on a wall, they just walk. They only jump when they're on the ground.
Okay.
Because when you jump off of a wall, you're going to fall down, no matter who you are or what you are. You know what I mean? Because gravity affects everything. And these are still much heavier than spiders. So if they jumped off of a wall or a ceiling, they would start heading towards the ground. They wouldn't. It's just there's no gravity when they're there's no gravity. That's okay. Anyway, like I said, it's nitpicking. Go ahead.
No. Kinetic physics is very important to me, and I appreciate you mentioning that.
Spider-Man, I understand it. He has sticky things on his fingers and his feet, right? But all right, go ahead.
So I thought this scene would have been a little bit cooler if he'd figured out to get them in the brig instead. But at least he figured out how to survive.
And this is when Laura. Sorry, I get the name mixed up. Anyway, she comes in.
It's my fault. I did it.
And she's still unarmed, even now after the ship is powered up.
Yeah, you're right.
Not carrying any weapons.
Now you have every reason to complain about the guns.
Right, they're not carrying any weapons. No environmental suit, nothing. They're just walking, just casually strolling around the ship, and it's like
at this point, she should have at least her rifle. I agree completely.
And an environmental suit. That should have been the first thing the captain ordered. But oh well.
Right. Yeah. Right. Because at first they didn't know how this thing was being transmitted.
Right. You don't want to lose any more crew members, right?
Mm-hmm. And
I just can't see them. They tell everybody basically split up, but don't take any weapons and don't wear any environmental suits. It's just okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun episode, but little logic bits do get in the way, don't they? And she, of course, shows that she didn't need that rifle, and she just does this. She just knocks him out.
Well, all of us geeks wanted to see this scene anyway. I mean, honestly, right? I mean,
you're right. Well, all we ever get to see of the lands of them ripping doors apart, so it's kind of fun to get to see this.
Yes, lifting heavy things and so forth.
So, yeah.
I definitely like and appreciate the makeup and the full body suits. Ooh, I'm glad you showed this scene. Tell me your opinion, Jill, about this. Bird, in your opinion about this one scene right here. A lot of people were speculating in the different reviews about the reason why they think that it was handled this way. What do you guys think?
Well, we know the spider is just realizing he can't overtake Isaac, and Isaac has taken time to study it rather than take it out like Tala did.
A lot of people in the reviews thought the spider didn't attack because Isaac is not a living being, and the spider's only going
Right.
after something they can transform. Would you
Yes.
agree with that?
I thought it did attack. Didn't it
No.
spray into Isaac's face and he just
Nope.
kind of
They
mushed
just-
it away?
nope. They both just stepped aside and went their own ways. I know it's hard to believe, but yes.
I could have sworn I saw it. Anyway, I'll have to watch again. I
Okay.
woke up at this point. I had fallen asleep the first time I saw it.
Oh, you
I
fell
woke
asleep.
up to this scene. I thought Isaac pushed it out of his way and kept going.
You might
They
have been
did-
mixing up Tala and Isaac.
Yeah, they didn't touch
I
each
don't-
other, Bird. So that's Bird's review. He fell asleep during the first half.
And
So
yeah,
okay, so why do you think that Isaac handled it the way he did?
I think he was trying to figure it out, like I said, like he was studying it. But
Did my question for you is, did he know it was a threat to the ship and the crew?
he should have known that, and he should have taken it down.
Yes,
I'm not sure
yes.
why he doesn't do that. That is very
I know why. That's why
disconcerting.
I ask these questions. I know exactly why this scene was written the way it is.
Right.
Because they're not going to show Isaac as a killer because of the last episode.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
think
is
the
that
writers
why?
got yes, they're not going to show Isaac annihilate this creature because remember after the last episode they're still doubting whether Isaac is a good robot or bad, and that would make him look bad.
But no, it would make him look good because this
Good for us, but it would show that he's got a mean streak, which I think would
Uh-huh.
turn people off. I think that's why they did not show Isaac deal with the creature. They didn't want to show him in an offensive light.
Interesting.
Maybe if the creature would have attacked him first, then Isaac could have fought back. But the fact that they both just stopped peacefully when it went about their ways was a very huge hole in the plot. Which, anyway, move on. Go ahead. Sorry, but I think it was just because they don't want to show Isaac in the negative light. That's just my opinion.
That's an interesting opinion. I didn't think about that.
Maybe Isaac realized that was a crew member, and if he
Couldn't he subdue
did
him or
something
grab
to
him?
them, he would have been killing a crew member.
Well, you could have subdued
Yes.
him or grabbed him, right, and put him in the
Yes,
brig
that's
or
what
something.
that's what I was thinking. That he knows that it's crew, so he could maybe break its legs but not kill it,
Or just grab it and carry it to the brig.
Yeah. Yeah, he's at least as strong as Tala, so he
Right.
could
He
do
could
that.
have just grabbed that creature, picked it up, and carried it to the brig and locked it in a force field.
So hello in the chat to Rennie A and Geek Flag with Nate Knows 1973.
Their
Says-
weapons. Go ahead.
Says maybe the first one to be infected. It's like the royalty, and the rest are like drones working on instinct, which is why the admiral retains his intelligence, making him the alpha in their group.
It was if that was the case, which is another thing I was going to bring up. Then do they manage to have technology to have their own ship and then navigate through space if they're just mindless creatures?
Well,
Remember, they're
not all
supposed
of
to be
them
a
are
sentient
mindless.
species.
Some of them
Well-
are, but not all of them.
It'd been nice if they would have explained it, right?
Right. Yeah, there's a lot we don't
Yeah.
know. And no, there's an Australian spider that can jump from wall to wall.
But remember the way spiders are built and how much they weigh. These things are still solid 100, 200 pounds. That's what I'm talking about. More than 100, or at least 200 pounds, right? They're a full adult with. They're still the weight of a human, if not
And-
more.
And Sandra says that the spiders don't attack Isaac because he has no respiration or heartbeat.
That's what I was thinking. That was what a lot of people thought was because they detected it was not a human.
Mm-hmm. Geek Flag with Nate Knows 1973 says the reason she's not carrying a weapon is because at this point the dampening field is still on. Lamar doesn't disable that till he gets to the bridge. Oh, okay. He only turned on auxiliary power, but the dampening field is still on.
Okay, what about environmental suits?
That there's no excuse yet. So Gordon figures out there's a vessel on the long range scanner. Oh wait, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Tala brings one of the creatures that she took out to sickbay for Dr. Finn to examine. And Gordon figures out that a vessel is out there on long-range scanners 10 million kilometers away. Dr. Finn finds the DNA of the spider demon has transformed so much she can't even decipher what species it used to be. And there's the ship of the spider demons. And she finds white blood cells to determine that he was human and has a very weak immune system in this stage of his transformation. So she figures out that she can kill them all with a weak virus that she could spread along the ship. Oh. Hmm. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead. Take your time.
And Bortus has his one line that's really good, so go watch the episode for that one.
And I do have to bring up that when she last saw the Doctor human in a sick bay when he was transforming, she promised, "I will find a way to save you."
Yes, she went from "I will save you" to "I will kill them all."
I will kill you. Right.
And I know maybe she means both, because in one case she does want to save him, but in the other case she also wants to protect her crew and her children and everybody.
Which
So
is
she's
reminiscent.
torn.
Right, it's the scene from The Fly at the very end. She loved the Brundlefly character, but she was willing to put him out of his misery. So that kind of reminded me of that.
Yes, and I'm very, very certain that this episode takes homage from all of these sorts of different horror movies and Star Trek and Stargate. And Geek Flag agrees that they should have had that ship on COVID lockdown. So maybe that's what they were going for, but they didn't exactly say it.
And that's funny because this was filmed right when the lockdowns were going into effect, because you said late 2019, early 2020.
Yes. Captain Mercer gives a reminder that these spiders used to be the crew, but the question is, are they still the crew? Or will they be ever again? Mercer wants to see if they can speak to them to give them a chance to leave without having to kill them all. I like when they scan the ship for the Selayan Sunstone in order to find Admiral Christie, so Dr. Finn can try to talk to him. She warns him that she could kill them all with the virus if they don't leave. And this is that scene where she does that. But before Mercer spreads the cold virus everywhere, the spider demon decides to leave, but not for forever.
See what?
Test. All right, yeah, it's working.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I think Jill may have lost her mic. She seems to be having mic issues.
I hear Jill.
I actually thought for a minute that it was my headphones.
Pop.
But
Pop,
Jill,
I hear Jill.
told me before. I hope I'm not talking over her right now.
Jill, do you hear me?
But Jill, if I'm talking over you, please put something on the screen. Put some text or a banner on the screen saying "shut up." But Jill's before this stream, she mentioned that she's having trouble with her microphone and her Ethernet card is going out, and she thinks they may be part of the same thing.
Yeah, I'm here.
She asked me to
It's
cover
all right.
if in case her mic dropped out, that she may have to reboot.
I don't think he hears you, Jill.
And I
yeah,
think
he can't hear
it
me.
looks like she's gonna. This is the ending scene where the Doctor finds him in the shuttle bay, and this is the Admiral who has been converted to the alien completely. And I'm a big creature
Yes,
makeup
we're going to talk about that in a minute.
fan. So I was looking. I need to go back and watch this episode, but I'm looking at it thinking, do they use one creature and body and makeup for all of them, or do they actually individually? Did they make several? So I'd like to think about that kind of thing. But this is where she tells the doctor, and she finds out that he can communicate because he does talk back to her when she addresses him. This is, I'm sorry, the admiral. That she tells him that I have created a virus that I can spread that will kill you if you don't leave this ship.
Culture Curator, can you hear me? Bob.
And it shows the alien walk away. Oh, I'm sorry, Bird. Thank you. Then it's me.
Yeah, for
Okay.
some reason you can't hear either of us.
Yeah.
I'm going to mute.
He'll figure it out.
Yeah, okay, he'll figure it out. But yes, well, he's gonna miss my favorite scene, which is after this scene.
Oh,
I like this scene. This might be my favorite, where Isaac checks on Claire.
would you like to sit down?
Yeah, would you like to sit down? So, yeah, and then I had this.
He spoke favorably of you as well.
You talked about me with Paul?
Our shared history of social and sexual intimacy with you provided a common frame of reference.
You know, I have missed you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Let's see.
Oh,
Yeah, it's good to end a terrible, awful episode with that. But the problem is what I keep thinking about. And Pop Culture Curator is back.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
can you hear me? Can you hear us
Hello,
now?
can you hear us now?
Yeah, but not only could I not hear you, but the little bubble around your avatar was not going up and down showing the audio. So I think it may have been my StreamYards.
It happens.
Yeah, because usually even when my headphones aren't working, I can see the little bubble fluctuate around your avatars showing you talking. I was watching for that. So I'm so sorry for talking over you.
No, that's okay. Basically, this episode ends a little bit abruptly, where we get to see, the aliens decide to leave the ship, but we don't get to see them actually leaving, or
Connecting to the ship or
yeah.
Beaming
anything
over.
like that.
I
Right,
mean, I'm
shuttle.
sure there's story reasons why they did it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, there really shouldn't be. I mean, they have all the time they need.
Hmm.
They had all the time they could have possibly wanted. I mean, that could have just been a shot that was just, you don't need actors for that. You could have just had the ships combine and then disconnect. You didn't have to show it from on board. You
Or
could
an
have just
awkward, maybe a shuttlecraft.
Yeah, right. I was thinking of shuttlecraft because it's a little bit of a security risk to have the actual ship hook up, because
Right.
then the other aliens can just board the ship and take over.
Well,
I
and
mean, I assumed that they were sent back to the station and picked up from the station, but who knows?
Well, and if they
No.
would have sent them over on a shuttle, who are they gonna get to fly those shuttles?
They just lose another shuttle. They lost the shuttle in the first episode.
Oh, yeah, you're assuming if they can all fit on one shuttle, only one.
Yeah,
shuttle.
right. I am. I'm assuming you can fit them all on one shuttle.
At
Or
least
maybe
here
they. Maybe
They could have been several shuttles back, and Isaac could have, flown them back and forth.
True.
Or they could do a remote. They could remotely drive the
That's
shuttle.
true.
Yeah,
also.
like a drone.
Mhm.
Oh,
And I
I'm
guess-
sure the shuttles could be flown remotely. Oh.
I guess if there's too many, they can just make multiple trips.
Yeah, I mean,
I
doesn't
guess
have to.
it's kind of ridiculous if you think about it.
Well, don't aren't these aliens are smart? Don't they have technology of their own to get from one ship to another?
Oh, clearly they had a space
Maybe.
station and a ship.
Yeah,
But
that's
do
what I'm
you- but
thinking.
do
But
you
they
want-
make them look like mindless monsters.
Yeah, right. They have to have intelligence, but what level of intelligence they have, we don't know exactly.
They don't all have to be the same intelligence. It could be like insects. You can have your workers and your drones.
Correct.
Not
Yes,
everyone has to
exactly.
be smart.
Hmm. But that was just something that was missing from the episode. So an episode that I really like, usually my complaints are that it's missing stuff. So that's what it's missing. It's missing a body count. It's missing how they got off the ship, and it's been mentioned before, but I still had a lot of fun watching this. It was a terrifyingly fun episode. I felt like I was transported back to the horror episodes, movies like the Alien and 90s Star Trek episodes. And I thought it was a good blend. And I was still hoping to get some resolution on those things, the number of crews lost, and maybe
And
some kind of
what about the
notice on
nurse? Yeah,
Nurse Park.
yeah, that was a reoccurring character.
Yes, yes, and he was very helpful in certain situations when the doctor was incapacitated, and so he was a good crew member. The creature was way too close for him for Park to run, but maybe he had some kind of hypo spray or something to knock him off. I don't know.
I think he would have surfaced in the episode if that would have been the case.
I know, I know. I'm just being too hopeful over here because they didn't show me a dead body
That's fine.
or a transformed body. Oh, and hello in the chat to Dalek451.
Hello, Dalek. Hey, good to see you.
And this was a sweet scene.
And we're getting ready to wrap this up here soon, Dalek. Sorry.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's it. That's the episode, guys.
So, Bird, I take it you probably would prefer to see less horror, not so many episodes like this. No comment.
Yeah, he must have stepped away or something.
That's okay.
Oh, somebody on Twitter made this.
Right, an homage to the Alien poster.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. But also I have some production photos here from this episode. So what did you think of this episode, Pop Culture Curator?
I did like it. I just didn't like the way they, it's a mixed episode. I like the alien part and all that, but like I said, it had a few plot holes. Mm-hmm. But for me, the biggest thing that stood out.
And we talked about them all, I think.
Yeah, and I don't like the way they wrote the Admiral, and I explained why.
I understand.
Otherwise, I would have given it a higher score. But what they did with the Admiral, it really knocked it down. So I think I gave it a C.
Here's the guy under the mask.
Right. That's probably Seth in that environmental suit, right? Looking at the monitors.
Probably, yeah. Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm glad they go through the effort of these sets like this. They're very big.
And Dalek451 thought this episode was amazing. Much more what I wanted from this show. Oh, you like this one more than episode 1, I take it.
Oh, there you go, Dalek.
And yeah, the ratings on this episode were much more mixed than last time. And hello in the chat to Mark D with a C. We also needed to have Captain comment on all the crew losses. They didn't acknowledge what happened. Yes, we just mentioned that. We mentioned that we wanted to know the total of fallen crew who were lost, and also the mechanics of how they transferred all of these creatures to their spaceship. One mentioning was shuttle, the shuttles, or just dropping them off at the star base or the space station, the creepy space station. Just dump them all there and just let the ship pick them up there. That's a good answer too. But that part of the script was cut out, or they decided not to show that. I don't know why. I'm sure they thought of it, because we're all thinking of it, but I don't know.
Well, they would have thought about all the other things too, but like the lack of environmental suits and everything. But it's like reminds me when George Lucas wrote the prequels for Star Wars, It's like you have somebody writing a script and then nobody's going over it looking for issues or problems or plot holes. Like DC Fontana used to do with Star Trek, TOS. She'd go over and look for things like that. But you can't have
Oh,
everything.
yeah. Well, it would be great if we still had DC Fontana.
Tell
She
me
was
about it.
great.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, oh, and also, um, so pop culture, I couldn't be more grateful for you joining me on this, and also you too, Bird Prey 5, if you're still around, because I know it wouldn't be as wonderful without you, and it was really fun to have Bird here too.
Absolutely.
Please tell us again what you have coming up on your channel.
Bird or me? I'm sorry.
You first. If Bird comes back, he can talk about him.
I
and,
have
and stuff,
okay,
or I
great.
will.
Okay, cool. I have Ray Bradbury Theater watch party coming up here soon, approximately 30 minutes after this stream ends. It'll be season 2, episodes 1 and 2. The Fruit at the Bottom of the Bowl and Skeleton. And I'll be having some
Ooh.
live streams this week as well. So please, if you're into that sort of thing, tune into my channel. I think you'll enjoy it.
Very cool.
If you're able to watch it later, it is available on Amazon Prime Video.
We, yeah. And Sandra Feliciana said they probably need time to figure out how many are missing. It also might be something they're keeping quiet to use in a later episode.
That's what I was saying. They might kind of wrap it up at the beginning of the next one. Kind of
Mhm.
start with like a funeral or a wake or some sort of remembrance.
I like that idea. That's good. And I don't know Bird's schedule exactly, but I do know he does stream Deep Space Nine stream tomorrow, Wednesday at 3 Central Time. And he also does Bed Lives and a whole bunch of other stuff, Star Trek reviews and Orville stuff also. So check out his channel and I think I'm gonna start giving people some wrenches here so they could put in their links.
Okay. And Gorilla, that's fine. If you can join us in Cosme, that's great. As long as you can enjoy the shows, that's wonderful.
Let's see here. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just saw in the private chat, Bird says I have to go. May not be back before the ends.
Oh, okay. That's fine, Bird Prey 5.
Yeah, that was about 6
Oh, I
minutes
didn't see
ago.
the bird. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. I should be reading my private chat. I'm not used to having guests, so
Same here. I know. I always
the
miss that
private
too. So,
But
all
but
right, Bird.
I very
catch
much
this later.
appreciate that you use the private chat. I'll make sure to check it next time.
Yes, Bird. And if you hear this later on, take care. It was so great to have you here.
And Gorilla's Random Thoughts has he sometimes has a Thursday show where he talks about something a universally panned movie or TV show that everybody hates, and he talks about how it's good. and Gorilla's Random Thoughts says that I missed his joke. Let's see. I'll be there, but only in Cosme. I only have one screen. That's not a joke. Wait, what? I missed a joke. Oh, since the episode is almost over, I'll end with a joke. Bird didn't find funny. How many red shirts does it take to screw in a light bulb? No one knows. They keep getting electrocuted.
Oh, sorry, Bird didn't laugh.
Mm. Yeah. So, also, Dalek451 has a channel too. And let's see here what we got. Ooh.
Dalek, when was that stream done?
Oh man, when I did that, all of my comments disappeared. So any comments I had before, I can't see who was here. But I do see that Mark D with C is here.
Well,
oh wait, what's your question? To Dalek?
Dalek, you said it was on you did a review with Potato Raven on Potato Raven stream. When was that? Like yesterday, day before?
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
I don't know.
No, Gorilla, it was
Dalek.
fine. It was fine, Gorilla.
It was probably a while back when the episode actually aired. We do our reviews late. The new episode is tomorrow.
We're one of the last ones to review it, but in my opinion, we do the best review, the most in-depth and fair review.
Yes. And I guess it does have the benefit. I don't really watch that many of the other reviews, but I do watch a couple. But I have a lot of fun doing it, and I think the more reviews, the better for the Orville.
Yep. Let's keep talking about it, people.
Yes. And do I have any more production pictures? Oh, and there's a director, John Kasar, and I don't know the other guy.
Which one was which?
John Kasar is the one on the right.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
You're welcome. See? There's a classic director thing.
Framing a shot.
And Dalek says it was done last Thursday. Right. The day right after the show aired.
Gotcha.
So Dalek will probably be talking about the new episode again on Thursday on Potato Raven's channel.
That makes sense. Usually once the episode premieres, everybody's scrambling to be first to get out there with the review, so that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to take my time.
Oh, same here. It's great because, like I said, like for me, I listen to several reviews and then I can kind of combine them together and then bring it into this one when we talk.
Mm-hmm. So here's the makeup work versus the alien effects, the creature, and that's it.
Yeah, we got to see that more lit up, not so dark. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Right. It makes me wonder how good it's going to look on Blu-ray.
All right. Excellent.
And yes, and Dalek does confirm he'll be on the channel with Raven on Thursday.
All right, then. Jill and I will be back on Tuesday.
Oh, and also, I don't want to forget our poll. This poll tells us what people thought of this episode. So I'm going to share the poll here.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, there was interesting results on this
yeah, a lot of people seem to agree with me. I said C.
I give it a B.
Okay.
And
no one gave it an A. Oh, some people did. Yeah, 31%. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, 31%. That's not bad.
It's kind of even right across the board, right? It's almost a third on each one.
But at least nobody thought it was absolutely awful. You know,
no, right?
There's no D or below, so that's pretty good.
Right. It would be 100% if we were covering Discovery, right?
But that's the problem. That's the problem when you take too many elements of the story and you don't put it in the story and you try to save it for later. You get the feeling that you're missing something in the episode, so you give it a lower score.
Yeah,
and so that's what happened here. Mm-hmm. So
it would have
been, I do like.
Yeah, but it could have taken just a few minutes to flesh out a couple of things. It would have been nice.
Right, and that could have raised the score a little bit there. I know those things, a few of the logical things, and a few of the missing story elements are why I give it a B. And otherwise, this is an A+ for me if it would have had those things.
At a minimum, even though we understand they have to wrap it up and they can't spend all time on it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end, it would have been nice if it would have ended with Ed saying, we may have lost a lot of people here. Moving forward, it's going to be just some kind of speech to acknowledge what happened and how it may affect the ship without actually showing it would have been nice.
Yep.
Like Star Trek, Kirk always opened and closed every episode.
I think that would be great.
But,
And Raymond is driving home. And Geek Flag with Nate Knows 1973. If you were covering Discovery or Star Trek Picard, it would have been 100% 2F.
Fail. Yes, I completely agree. Sad to say.
Yeah,
Oh, it's Strange New
that's
Worlds.
true.
Strange New Worlds as
That's
well.
why I don't bother giving those shows a score, because we already know the score for all of the
Right.
episodes.
Right, and we know what we would just be talking about the whole time would be how bad it is, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, my chat came back. So I see here we also, yes, I remembered we have Cardinal Sin. So I'll put in his channel. And if anybody wants to share their channel, just let me know. That if I'm not sharing yours and you want to share it, just let me know, and I'll add you to my stream elements, or I'll give you a wrench, however I'm feeling. And
Hey
LDG.
guys,
Oh yeah.
I'm back.
Hey,
There
welcome
we
back.
are. Hello, hello, sir.
I'm just doing some wrap up, saying hi to the chat, thanking the people who are here. LDG was here at some point, so I'm gonna share his channel here. I know he had a stream the other day, but I wasn't able to listen to it, and I wasn't able to listen to it later because he deletes his streams.
Yeah, you have to go to his back room.
Yeah, I don't have to go to his back room.
Well, you don't have to, but like me, I would love to, but I can't because usually I'm working, I'm busy, and I can't get in the StreamYards.
Right.
I can,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Well, with my luck, I'll go into the back room and nobody will be there. And
Yeah, Bird, by the way, thank you for joining us. It was great having you here.
yeah, absolutely agreed. It was really awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I saw you had the open link, so I figured.
Yeah, I do.
I'd come in.
You figured right.
Yeah, hope you're feeling better, and say hello to Mama. Pray for us, please.
I will.
Hail Cardinal Sin.
Oh yeah, Hail Cardinal Sin. He just reached 1,000+ subscribers, growing every day.
Congrats.
He had Gary Ambrosia on his last Masters of a Genre, and Masters of the Genre is one of my favorite shows that he does, and it was a really good one. So go check that one out.
Yeah,
I
that's another
recommend it.
reason. That's another reason why I didn't stream yesterday, because everybody else was. So I figured I'd pass.
Yeah, well, if you do that, you'll never stream. So you got to pick when you want to stream and do it anyway.
Or else they could just produce the video and just post it, not have a stream.
Oh yeah, you can do that too. And so thank you for being here, Raymond Feliciano and Sandra. That was awesome. I'll go through here and say hi. Hello, Stream Element Spot. Thank you for posting King Dolphin's link. Hello to Sandra. Yeah, we didn't have any of the nasty bots today, so that's good. And Adega Outlaw. I know that he's an author and he writes books, so that's cool. Check those out. And hello to Renier. Glad you were here.
Hello, Renier. Yeah, it's that time of day. Everybody's working.
Yep. And Dalek. And I posted Dalek's link. I mean, that one's not it, but I'm just going through to see who is here. So I'll close the poll now. So the official poll is now closed. Oh, a percentage of the A+ was taken away in the moments that I was going through the chat. So now we have A+ at 29%, A to A+ at 29%, B to B+ at 35%, and C at 35%. So it's about even. It's a very mixed thoughts on this episode. That's exciting.
Yep.
It's good to have different opinions. And hello in the chat to John DeMarco. We just finished our review of this episode.
Hello, John and Marco. Good to see you, sir.
Oh, Bird, since you're here now, can you tell us what you got going on with your channel this week?
Sure. In 45 minutes or so, I have a members only stream for anybody who's a channel member. They can come up and talk. Not that there's really any rush, hard to get a hold of me, but it is a perk that channel members get. At 5 p.m. Eastern, I'll be doing an open lines for everybody, playing the game and open lines. And tomorrow, we've got Deep Space Nine Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. We've got Thursday, I'll be doing a review of Strange New Worlds. At some point, it'll be released. Friday will be Bed Life. And then Sunday is Twilight Zone.
Yeah, Twilight Zone. I wish I could go to every one of those, but I usually can't.
It'll be
But I
sad
love
when
the
it's
Twilight
over.
Zone.
Yeah, it'll be sad when it's over. He's almost getting close to the last season.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, well, we're in the last season. Technically, we're doing seasons 4 and 5.
True.
But I'm going to go on to the 80s version of Twilight Zone after that. So
That I'm excited for. It's not as good, but it's worth watching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah.
I
Why
got to
not?
order the DVDs.
You gonna do Outer Limits too, or just
No,
no?
not Outer Limits, not for
Okay.
me.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, right, because Outer Limits is more scary.
Yeah, Monster of the Week, right? Bird,
That makes sense.
Bird, have you ever seen the series Amazing Stories?
I don't think so, but there's things I might have seen over the years.
It was produced in the 80s by Steven Spielberg, around the same thing as the Twilight Zone remake. Lighthearted, more family made.
Seeing things that I just can't place. So it's possible.
Well, that's great. Then when you watch it, it'll be almost like watching it for the first time if you ever see it again.
Yeah.
Yep,
And it'll be things that just fill in, like my own backstory.
yeah, right. And
I usually try to attend Bird's members only chats.
I did one time.
Bird, I may not be able to make it. I have my Ray Bradbury Theater coming up here shortly.
Oh, yeah.
So
No worries.
sorry.
You guys both know how boring it is. It's really.
I thought it was fun.
Your stream is never boring, Bird.
I went.
Yeah.
No, just you talking is great. I wish I could do that. I don't really have a freeing sense of being able to just say whatever's on my mind. So I'm really impressed with you, Bird Prey. You do a lot better than you think.
Yes, we like your personality, Bird, and we think you're very funny.
Yes.
When I start talking, I feel like I'm going to get arrested or something.
No. But we like your honesty. When there's something you don't like, you let us know, and that is very much appreciated.
Yep.
Well, thank you guys.
And so that's our show for this week. And next week we're going to review the next episode of the Orville, which is going to be Morality Paradox. And we'll take you out with the preview for this week's episode, which will air tomorrow night.
Beautiful. Thank you, everybody. Peace.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Talk to you guys later. Have a great day. See you next time.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Bird.
Kapla.